All right, son. I'm getting up there in age, and I can't keep doing this podcast forever. And I want to pass on my podcast responsibilities to you. Do you want to train to be the host of TV Guys?
Sure.
Sure. He's super into it. Brian, what do you think? Should he be your boss?
I think a podcast host should know what their kids want, and I think, is that what he wants, or is it what you want?
You know what I want?
What?
To fire you. You kind of suck, so I'll be taking over.
Listen here, you little. Hey everyone, welcome back to TV Guys, where you've heard of Bad Santa, you've heard of Mad Santa, get ready for Dad Santa. Ho ho ho! I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
And we got plenty of Oh, I skipped over our guest. He was ready.
I'm Elijah, and you're fired.
Yeah.
That's right. My son is back. You know, he's had a whole year of growth, and so I'm sure this year, during this episode, he won't just be making fun of me the entire time, right?
No promises.
Oh, gosh.
See, yeah, because that's true. As kids get further into teenage years, that's when they get nicer. That's how it works.
Are you sure about that, or do they get meaner? I think they get meaner. Or am I just a different type of breed?
Thanks, Elijah. That's the joke.
Okay.
Okay. You just go along with it. Whatever. Yeah. Well, it was actually a lot of fun having him last year. And I believe, Elijah, you said that Santa Claus was your favorite TV show?
Yeah.
Is after season 2, is it still your favorite TV show?
Yeah, it's just that they should have... One thing that really wanted me to make a meme is that when they were fighting over the little toy sword at the end...
And you wanted to make that a meme?
Yeah, like how 3-year-olds would act when they see another kid playing with their toy that they haven't used in like 3 years.
That's fair. That's a fair meme.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna make a lot of dad jokes this entire time, so I mean, if now's your time to get out.
Well, can I leave?
Look at that. You've got good comedic time. Well done, buddy. All right. We're already off to a banger start. I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to everyone. This episode is either going to be right before or right after Christmas. At the same time, who knows? Because our schedule gets all wonky and we do stuff and who knows what happens.
Because I could be late on editing it. Matt could be late on posting it.
Usually it's a combination of both of those things. Brian would be like, oh, I got it edited. Sorry, it took me a little bit. And he sends it to me and I still like a week later. I'm like, oh, crap, I haven't posted it.
Or the other version where Matt will say, oh, man, I forgot to post the latest episode. I'm like, it's okay. I haven't gotten it to you to post yet.
That has also happened. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's time where Elijah is there.
Yeah, and I haven't listened to a single one of your podcasts because I don't like your dad joke.
That's fair. Hey, I don't make that many dad jokes. Our last episode about background check had a lot of, more mature jokes. So
think about church then.
Think about church. I try to every day.
No.
So Elijah, did you not even listen to your own episode?
Your jokes.
What did you say, Brian?
I said, Elijah, did you even listen to the episode you were on last year?
No. Not at all, but I want to listen to this one.
He drops the mic and he walks out and never looks back.
I mean, I suppose he was here for it. He didn't need to listen to it again, but I sometimes listen to our episodes again.
Yeah, I'll sometimes do it too. Wait, what do you mean you sometimes listen to it? You edit them.
Well, I mean, I listen while I'm editing it, but sometimes, because I listen to podcasts while I'm at work, and sometimes, one will end, and I'll hear our voices. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm listening to us now.
And I want to give a shout out to one of our new viewers. She texted me today that she's been listening, and asked what else she'd like. So my mom is now a listener. I don't know if she'll listen faithfully. She likes our Friends content, and we've had a lot of that in the last couple months. So
my mom listened to the one that my dad was on for part of it, but then she realized she doesn't know any of these shows because she doesn't watch TV, and so she stopped.
Man, Don's one shot at fame, and Judy can't even hold on.
And shout out to the lady who cut my hair. She said she was going to listen to us.
New viewer. I don't even know your name or anything.
It's your grandma.
Oh. Sorry. I thought it was a different person. Sorry.
No, what's your shout out? Go ahead. Give the shout out to this random new viewer.
Grandma. Listen. Leave. They make some bad jokes. They are horrible. But then when I take over and fire them, when I fire my dad, you're all right to come back.
Man, you got nicer.
Yeah, I did.
Well, let's talk about Santa Clauses because Elijah, you're our special guest. Apart from me, I don't know what that was. Apart from memes, what was your favorite part? Actually, let's just start. Did you like season 2 as much as you like season 1?
Season 2 is definitely better.
Season 2. What do you think, Brian?
It had its moments. It had good and it had bad. But I think that Eric Stone Street was the breakout of the show.
Yeah, I did not expect like that character type of Bad Santa or Mad Santa could easily. Oh, sorry. That character type could easily get old fast. And just the way he delivered the lines that he had, the lines were pretty solid too, but his delivery of them just really sold home the absurdity of that character. And there was a lot of fun to be had with him. So he definitely was the highlight of this season, 100%. I agree.
And
I thought he was always the bad Santa, but no, he's just someone who's trying to be nice, but doesn't like how ungrateful humans can be.
Yeah.
And you can understand that, but maybe not turning people into nutcrackers. There's got to be a middle ground.
Yeah, I think instead of turning them into nutcrackers, he should just give them coal, you know?
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes they don't listen. You give them coal, they don't listen. You got to go that extra step. I've turned Elijah into a nutcracker like 3 or 4 times.
No, you haven't.
But okay,
turn me into a nutcracker.
Well, get out your TV guys bingo cards because I'm going to bring up the Muppets. At the end of Muppet Christmas Carol, Scrooge, to be nice, gave his workers coal for the fire.
That is true.
So that'd be nice.
That is
because they were cold, and the coal helps the fire get warm, so they can be warm while they work.
You were just sitting there with that in your back pocket, weren't you?
Actually, no, I came up that on the spot. That's how on the spot references I can make Muppets.
Turn Scrooge's whole turn his whole company into like a little house full of nutcrackers, because everyone there working, they don't deserve coal. They deserve to be a nutcracker.
I don't think that's true.
Yes, they don't deserve coal. If they think it's a nice treat, no more coal for you. Nutcracker turning into.
I feel like they're innocent. Them wanting to be
they're
warm.
They're not innocent. If you want to be warm, go to a homeless camp.
The punishment doesn't match the crime. Wanting to be warm is not a crime.
Yes, it is. They shouldn't be warm. They should just deal with the cold.
This is our episode, guys. Actually, this is just our everyday life. He's just like, I'm going to be contrarian just because I can. See?
And that's only one of them. You have 3 more.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Okay.
Sorry. That.
There should be audio. There should be separate audio files. So let's hope we can cut that out.
No.
Or we can leave that in.
Or,
yes.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You want them to hear? Okay, whatever.
Yes, I want them to hear
if
that.
If it's funny, then I leave it in.
You know my rule. If it's funny, it stays. That's why Elijah has stuck around as long as he has.
Well, that's also why I delete Matt's audios entirely.
All right, so Elijah, who was your favorite character then? Was it Mad Santa?
It can't be any Santas because it reminds me of you. You already got the belly for Santa, so I don't know. It can't be Santa. I'm gonna have to say it's Cal.
Cal, you like
Cal's
Cal?
a good character.
So
they definitely gave Cal more to do than the daughter Sandra. She had a couple of good key moments, but she really didn't have much to do this season.
Yeah,
she's just a witch.
Yeah,
she's a son of a witch. Actually, she wasn't. I guess she's not, but her kids will be. No, so she. Thanks. So, Cal for me, like the weakest part of this show to me has always been the kids, Cal and what's the daughter's name? Sandra. Like, I don't like their stuff. I didn't like season 1 as much. I actually did like season 2 more, and a big part of that is Eric Stone Street. I thought that his stuff was really good. Mm-hmm. And then just any of the training and whatever plot points, it felt hollow. That's to me like this show. This show feels like it was generated by AI and then like acted out with all of the charisma of a wet dog, except for Eric Stone Street. He was like,
his gnome friend was also funny.
Oh,
she had some funny lines.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I rewatched Santa Claus not too long ago. I think this last week, the original movie, and like the difference in kid actors. Like what's the guy with the eye patch? What's his name?
Gary.
Yeah. It's just like he's this walking punchline, but he's not even that believable in how he acts. Like any of the kid actors, I'm like, but then I watched Judy, who by the way was in this one. She made a cameo. But Judy from the first movie, like as a kid actor, and Charlie as well, both of them do such a good job in that movie. And it's just not. It's a little bit of a disappointment to kind of see a little bit of Stonewall acting from the kids.
Saying kids were better in the 90s. I get that.
Agreed. Any kid that grew up in the 90s, much better.
Nah, I think the kids who grew up in the 2020, who grew up in the 2011s. I'm calling out all the 12-year-olds.
You were born in 2011.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling out all the 12-year-olds.
You didn't grow up in the 2011 unless...
Yes, I did. I'm that good. I can hop through time.
How old are you in dog years?
How old am I in dog years? I'm like 106.
All right. Check the math, Brian. Do it.
I was saying, to quote Ross from Friends, both math and logic are taking a serious hit today.
I don't think he has any logic, though. So I think it's just me and you talking logic.
All right, Elijah. You ask the next question.
Let's see. I think Santa Claus's hat was a big disappointment.
That's not a question. That's a statement. I think Santa Claus's hat was a big disappointment.
I agree. There you go.
But I don't even know what you mean by that.
Remove the hat and keep the bunny ears. I want to see him invisible. I want to hear noises in my room, tiptoeing around. And then I want him to drop Cal's, whatever it is, his vest. And I want to put it on, see him, slap him in the face, take the bunny ears off, and put it on my own head.
I swear, every time we have you as a guest, it's like a fever dream of an episode. You have no idea what's going on or where it's going, and just protocol flies out the window.
I like it.
What are you going to say, Brian?
They had the Sandman in as like the representative of like the legendaries. Yep. I wonder if they tried to get any of those actors back. Obviously, Peter Boyle is no longer with us, but like they could. I wonder if they reached out to like Aisha Tyler or the Tooth Fairy or any of the other characters.
They did. Obviously, they got Kevin Pollak as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
But they had to replace it because I don't remember who played him. I didn't think it was a huge actor who played the Easter Bunny in Santa Claus 2.
I don't remember.
But it definitely wasn't Tracy Jordan.
Yeah. That's true. It wasn't.
I liked the inclusion of that. I actually would have been pro a little bit more seeing from, especially if we could have gotten like Aisha Tyler or who is the other one they're missing? The Tooth Fairy's name, the actor.
Yeah, well, and even though he by now would be like in his 90s or maybe even 100, but I think that Peter Boyle would have made a cameo if he was still alive.
Yeah, I think so. I think like Kevin Pollak was probably around the same age, maybe just a little younger. So Kevin Pollak is like getting up there. He's 60s, 70s, 70s, 80s, probably.
Yeah. Well, that's not like Peter Boyle would easily be in the 90s, if not older.
Yeah, Peter Boyle, 100%. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about whoever played the Tooth Fairy, because I think he and Pollak are the same age.
Those two, about the same age.
If they make it season 3, they should make it rated R. More blood.
Oh my gosh.
More murder. I want to see that gnome get back at the elves. Like I want to see her slice Betty in half.
Is there a way for me to like distance myself from my son? I don't know how.
Go get the milk.
But
not that way.
Since we're already off topic, I got to share a story. But when me and one of our recent guests, Alex, was about your age, Elijah, maybe a little older, we played the game Doom on the computer, and his parents had it set where like it's like the setting where you don't get as much blood and gore, like so it's more family friendly. And
Well,
we were
too bad.
kept-
I don't want family friendly. I want.
well, neither did we.
murder.
So we were trying to guess the password to like turn all that back on. And like, what would they not guess? Jesus. And that was the password. And as soon as, yes, we got it unlocked. And then his dad was standing right behind us.
We did. Jesus is always the answer. Not today, son. No. So there you go.
One thing I was a little disappointed by was Gabriel Iglesias, because I'm a fan of his stand-up. I like him a lot. But
Yeah.
he was really not necessary to the story. It's kind of like they wrote out the outline and then they're like, what if we had Fluffy in here?
They
Yeah.
should have done something better with
Yeah.
him.
I mean, they get, and here's the problem with like the arcs, so to speak, of the characters is he had an arc about him and his dad, but like much of it was resolved. His dad didn't even come back. A lot of that was resolved off camera or like done quickly. There wasn't time for any emotional beats to breathe or anything.
Well,
I
and
didn't-
he was, yeah.
I didn't feel like there was
Hello.
much attention given to any one thing except for maybe like gnomes versus elves of kind of the the history of like Mad Santa and everything, and then reconciling the past with the future. They did give a lot of credence to that because that was a big point of the season. It was
Yeah.
kind of like that versus the parental role and figure and etc. And it's just like that stuff didn't work, but somehow the Mad Santa background of the North Pole did. I don't.
Yeah, that worked. But back to Fluffy, one thing they could have done, they said he had a thing with his dad, how he wanted to keep the Santa shop running and he was all Mr. Christmas spirit.
Mhm.
Well, then how about make him be the one at the end who can have the Christmas spirit power to overpower Mad Santa?
Yeah, and I totally thought that they were setting it up for, okay, Cal didn't want to do it. Well, then Gabriel Iglesias, he already has that Christmas spirit and that excitement.
Oh, yeah. Either
He
way.
could, and I know last year they did the Cal pen and like handing it off to some outsider, and that didn't work. But this guy did have like the heart of Christmas. And
So-
so that really seemed like they're setting it up. And maybe they're setting it up for next year too, and that they're going to bring him back. But they didn't do enough with him. And he wasn't funny enough either.
No.
He was just like oh, wow, that happened sort of guy.
Yeah.
You don't
and,
need someone doing that.
and I know he's funnier than that. And so you and I both came up with two different ways they could have used him better.
Yeah,
On the spot.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right, folks, it's time. It's time we don't talk about the Santa Claus and we talk about the rated R version of Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's go.
Again, my life takes a lot of left turns that I don't anticipate when I'm hanging out with my kids.
All right, let's talk about the first few murders.
Let's not talk about that.
What's happening?
You said Santa Clauses. We brought you in for Santa Claus. If they do a Five Nights at Freddy's show, then I don't know if I can let you watch it because I don't want to hear about it every single day for the rest of my life. My gosh.
You can't get me away.
Why are you like Scottish? You can't get me away. You're not gonna take me away from the Five Nights at Freddy's.
So, I mean,
Go
I didn't
ahead.
think they needed a second season. I mean, I think the second season is better. But if they do
Yeah.
come back with a third season, do you think everyone from here will? Do you think we'll see the Mad Santa in the gnome again, or do you think they'll kind of be off doing their own thing, or maybe just a cameo?
I think they'll be off doing their own thing.
Yeah.
They could go revisit that well, but similar to like what they did with Bernard of him not being around this one, they made references to him and
Yeah.
they talked about him as part of the history, but they had no David Krumholtz here. So I think that would be a similar thing. That arc has ended unless, like, obviously the writers can do what they want. They can bring both of those back in and do something, but I
Yeah.
just don't think that they would. I think they'd go a different route.
Also, did you catch that they mentioned Curtis from Santa Claus 2 and 3? Because they probably, I mean, I'm guessing they probably reached out to him too.
Oh yeah, they did mention him.
They mentioned him twice because they said when an elf gets so stressed they blow up, they said it's called Curtisitis. And then in the last episode, he said that Curtis never came back after his cribble crabble.
That's right. I thought they said Bernard never came back.
They said neither. They said
Oh,
Curtis didn't come back, and neither did Bernard.
gotcha. Okay, and that's a smart way to like write that out too.
Yeah.
Because
it's
like
a little
you watch the original movie and you're looking around like none of these elves are
Yeah.
anywhere near. But
Yeah, there's no Betty or Noel, and then they were supposedly around long before the first episode. So
Yeah.
were they just? I'm not gonna get involved with this new Santa.
yeah, exactly. He's a flash in the pan. I'm just gonna let him do it. Okay, so here's something that Angie and I have been talking about. Just the whole North Pole idea, like looking at the '90s movie, and when they land. And I'm not talking about Santa Claus 2 or 3 because they grow it more. We both feel like the North Pole and Santa Claus 1 is the most like believable version of the North Pole. It's got some whimsy, but overall, it's you feel the workshop of it, and it feels very grounded. Where it doesn't so much feel that way starting at Santa Claus 2 and on. Do you feel like that's true?
Well, I don't remember 2 and 3, but even compared to this, yeah, it was perfect because it was believable and wondrous at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that's what makes me sad about like this show or even Santa Claus 2 and 3 is that the original Santa Claus was it was so good because it had this really good heart of it. The story is a great metaphor. It's Charlie believing in his dad. And like believing in him to be Santa Claus is the metaphor for like a kid believing in their single parent or a divorced parent or whatever. And like, hey, I'm torn in the middle. And even my dad doesn't think they're that great of a dad, but I'm going to believe in you and it's going to make you be a better person. And that is a really good start. And it's a really good heart to a movie. And it just feels like after the first one, it completely lost it. And it carries on into this show. To me.
Yeah. Oh, I agree completely.
So does Elijah.
I don't.
Yes, you do. You agreed with everything I said.
I don't agree with anything you say. I agree with Brian said.
Well, that's funny because Brian agreed with me. In your face, loser.
Transactive
Call me a loser when you have to cover up your face every time you go out into public.
That's true.
Or else everyone's gonna end up running and screaming, and it's gonna cause a massive earthquake.
I don't want to cause a panic. It's a nice
well,
consideration.
you do.
All right.
Remember the first time you went out? You caused Turkey to collapse.
I caused like the country.
Yes.
Yeah. So Elijah, did you know that when Matt and Angie go out grocery shopping together, they always get to the checkout and they ask Angie, "Do you need a bag?" And she's like, "No, he's not that ugly."
That's probably what she said to Dad when she met. She was the only one that was brave enough to date my dad.
Yeah, that's true. When we first started dating, she said, "You're not that ugly." That's what she said. And I quote, "Those are in our vows." All right.
I was just gonna say that your vows.
What else? Oh, you know something I liked?
What?
I liked, it's a small reference, but you just don't see it in modern media, even in Hallmark movies. I like that they gave just like even one line to honoring Jesus about Christmas. And I'm like, wait, did they put that in there? And I'm like, because in the final episode, Scott says something about like honoring the king and referencing Jesus. I like didn't call him Jesus, but called him the king. And I'm just like, hey, look at you. Like, this is what Christmas is about. Okay, back to the action. I appreciated just throwing that in because I do think that like in our attempts to appease everyone, we play a little safe sometimes and appease no one. And so to say, hey, you're watching a Christmas movie, you know what Christmas is, what people view, people view Christmas and what's important to them, So to put that in there, I thought was a nice touch.
I agree.
He agrees, even though he doesn't remember.
I keep saying I agree a lot, but
I don't know anything that my father's saying. It's because basically, whenever he talks, my ears just start ringing, and my ears are just gone in the abyss. Can't understand.
All right, Elijah, what would you change about this that would keep it the same rating, the PG rating?
Okay, well,
I'd make them all die.
What I would change is that when I would change Betty when she's off on Cribble Crabble, she doesn't like come back, and like a year passes, and then Mad Santa shows up. But before Mad Santa shows up, it's just like an episode or two about them trying to figure out who murdered Betty. And it's like a murder mystery. And
you would do that?
Betty doesn't come back. Yes. And then she comes back with like Bernard.
So Betty dies, but we don't see it. She dies off camera, and they're just like, by the way, Betty's dead. Who did it? And then they talk.
And then in the final episode, she comes back with Bernard and then absolutely demolishes.
And Noel's like, are you cheating on me? And she's like, you better believe it. Although she's a girl and he's like a 50-year-old man. So that I don't think that would go very well.
If he's a 50 billion-year-old man,
No,
since he's an elf and
like the actor is a 50-year-old guy, 60-year-old guy, something
you
like that.
better believe it. I'm married to a pedophile.
No, probably.
No, Noel's probably gonna be weirded out.
I think we all are at this point.
I don't know if there's anything I can say to that won't be inappropriate. Like,
I just don't know. I don't know how to save this episode. It just keeps going.
oh, I think this is a funny episode. I mean, some people hate off tangents. I think it can be really funny.
This is all that it is. No, I'm not embarrassed at all. It's fun to play off you. You have the weirdest ideas. You are definitely our most unique guest. I'll say that. There's
Yeah, I think
everyone
so.
else that we have. Like
Who-
we all stick to our formula. And
Who
you're
are your
like,
guests?
here's a wild card.
Who the heck are your guests?
I don't know if you know any of them apart from you. We had your grandpa once.
I
And
think
his
the
his
only
mom and his
guest-
aunt.
I guess your mom and your aunt. You know them.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I say that I should be the only guest.
Well, right now you are.
No, I should actually. They should be a guest, and then
How do I go back and rewrite?
And then out of nowhere, you pull out the wild card.
What does that mean?
I'm the wild card. Get it right. Get that in your brain. Oh yeah, that's right. It's already at the max limit. I'm filled with knowledge and space. The only thing you have
Yep.
in there
Did
is
you
can fill
compliment
it up. You can fill it up with only one book.
You're boxing left and right, and this little jab you threw of like a compliment threw me off.
No, I'm not trying to give you a compliment.
You're
I'm
so smart. Look at all the
Why-
stuff you had in your head. By the way, you're ugly.
No, I'm becoming nice. No.
It's the magic of Christmas.
Murderous thoughts. Murderous thoughts.
Don't say murderous
Murderous
thoughts like a
thoughts.
mantra.
All right, I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and listen to this one for sure.
Well, that's all the time we've got.
Are you sure?
No, Brian, did you have anything else to add? I don't know what else we can
Well, I
say.
mean, to add on to the characters that haven't done anything, because we haven't even mentioned her once, Mrs. Claus,
Yeah.
they gave her nothing.
They kind of gave her a little bit of like it's a weird thing. It's like they gave her the apologies for being Mrs. Claus because like the idea of a Mrs. Claus just being defined as the wife of Santa is a little old school. And so I get it that they in a way are like just so you know she's still like her own person. But
Yeah.
she was so dynamic of a character in Santa Claus 2. She
was.
was a little harsher, of course. She was more strict. And so it's
Oh my
fine
gosh,
that she's
you were
like,
my first crush. Remember?
okay.
Remember when he said that Miss Claus was his first crush?
Oh, Gabriel Iglesias. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just saying that out of the blue. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
I think Elizabeth Mitchell is his first crush.
I guess he just has a mature taste.
What?
No, but she went from being a well-written character in Santa Claus 2 to just being there. And like I said, kind of having to apologize of like, hey, I'm not defined as just his wife and I have some agency too. But it didn't feel like it mattered to the story.
Yeah.
The daughter-mother relationship, it could have been explored more, but the writing isn't strong enough to do that.
No. They had too many characters and didn't service all of them well enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to the point like they just dropped Betty for 3 episodes and then only to bring her back. And it's like, it's fine that you have to get her away from you, but
And
let
then
us
she's
see what she's
gone.
doing while she's on Cribble Crabble then.
All you see is just her in New York, just eating like a turkey leg or something, and then like the next time you see her, she's hearing about Mad Santa on the loose and drops a mug. I'm sad it didn't break.
I did like the callback that the mug was the same mug from the first movie.
Yeah. I agree. Like,
I like when they do stuff like that.
it's a nice little reference that
That's the.
I think
amulet.
if they did that, I don't know. It's like I like it, but at the same time, I wish we would have had more of it.
Yeah.
To like show, hey, this is how important this was, but yet it
Yeah.
was never really like a super important prop, and they just are like, now it is important.
Yeah. And I do like the reference at the very end where he says, think about this, think about Charlie and his kids. Because if you were just watching this show this season, you might not know that Santa has another kid.
Yeah. And Angie too was like, why don't they just have Charlie take over? I'm like, well, they did that and they talked about it in the first season. It's like, yeah, but people change. I'm like, well, they already addressed it.
I think
asked and answered.
I think for the 3rd season, they should have Charlie come back.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having him as a bigger role in the show. He was what we loved in the first
But
movie.
the actor might not want to.
That's fair. Well, fine. Make him do it, Brian. Go to his house. Say,
Yeah.
what do you got going on right now? Nothing.
But if they could, what they can do with Cal is make it like skip ahead a few years where Cal's already like married and stuff,
They could do that.
and Cal is gonna be like Charlie, only shows up like once, and then goes away for a while,
They just need to kill off more characters.
and then they bring back Charlie.
Well, in
That's-
general, this is something that is kind of a pet peeve of mine when there's any kind of reboot or something, and then one of the actors doesn't want to come back, and people get mad at them. Why are you not coming back? It's like, it's a job that this person had 20, 30 years ago, and they're living their own life. But people are like, no, I liked when you did the thing, so you have to keep doing it because it makes me happy. It's like, no.
Selfish.
No, that's how you should be. Feel free, guys. Write hateful messages to people when they don't do exactly what you want. Celebrities aren't people. I learned that from Muppets 2011.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not the only one who can pull out Muppets references from your butt, Brian.
How about this for a bingo card? People were mad at Amy Jo Johnson for not coming back for the Power Ranger reboot.
What else is on our bingo
No.
card? People
Send-
were mad when Michael
send
Scott
threats.
left The Office.
Send threats to the celebrities. Send
Back to the
threats
Future.
that they will pour water on them because they are just AI.
People were happy when they fired Eric Stoltz from Back to the Future, and instead it was Michael J. Fox.
I just said Back to the Future, and you're like, no, I have to do better. I have to prove that I know things.
I didn't hear what you said, but I was just like, that's another one on our bingo card, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
Dad,
Also,
did you
hey,
see that lovely
Did you know that
note?
we have a guest? We have a frequent guest named Paul.
You have a freaking guest named what?
Frequent guest named Paul.
Is there tape in here?
That's true. What kind of a name is that? Paul.
It's not
Paul.
even a name.
Oh, Dad, do we have
Like
tape?
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Well, I think that's all the time we have, and we probably need to get out of here before our heads explode. So, we're going to move into trivia. Last week, we talked about New Girl and the episode Background Check. So if you haven't listened to that episode, listen to that. And if you haven't watched the episode of New Girl called Background Check, do yourself a favor. It's hilarious.
Mhm.
And in that episode, we talked about how TV shows used to do all these crossovers, but New Girl did a crossover with a TV show in either its 4th or 5th season. I think it was in its 5th season. And so we asked you, what show did New Girl cross over with? And that show was another one of our favorites, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep. We've done one episode on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think it's about time to do another one soon.
Maybe. It's been a while since I've watched any Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Maybe do the Halloween heist for a breakdown.
Halloween Heist. Although we have to wait 10 months. So...
It's true. We'll hold on to it.
All right. Well, for our trivia for this week, we got to see some of these legendary characters come back, including the Sandman, who was played by I won't even say the actor's name. He was played by a popular actor from Star Trek. So what character was Sandman on Star Trek? Or the actor? There was just Sandman floating around the ship making everyone sleep there. So, yeah. All right. And that is our show. So, Elijah, anything that you want to add?
Leave the podcast until I take over.
There you go.
And then when I take over, you can just rejoin.
Our viewership just plummets to zero. The sway that you have, Elijah.
Yes, I am way too persuasive.
Well, if you haven't had Christmas yet, Merry Christmas. If you already have had Christmas, keep the Christmas spirit alive within you. As the Ghost of Christmas Present says, it is the season of the heart and the special time of caring, the ways of love made clear.
Bro, you're taking words from a song.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you are.
That's original.
Just remember, the message, if you hear it, is make it last all year. All right, well, speaking of New Year, next week, we're talking about the best TV shows from 2023. And this is the longest outro we've had in a long time. Until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Brian.
I'm the new guest, Elijah.
The new co-host, I guess.
Yes.
And we're reminding you to stay tuned and keep watching.